Top 5 things you didn't know about Alphaville, the synth-pop legends of the 80s. Alphaville is one of the most iconic synth-pop bands from the 80s, known for their atmospheric music and unforgettable hits like Big in Japan and Forever Young. Though the band didn't always enjoy the same level of mainstream fame as some of their peers, their influence on electronic music is undeniable. Here are 5 things you probably didn't know about Alphaville. 1. Big in Japan was a global breakthrough. Big in Japan was Alphaville's breakthrough single in 1984, catapulting them into international stardom. Despite the song's title referencing a distant, exotic land, it was a massive hit in Europe and beyond. The catchy tune, with its synth-heavy sound, perfectly encapsulated the 80s vibe and became an anthem for fans across the world. 2. Their name has a literary origin. The name Alphaville comes from a French science fiction film by Jean-Luc Godard, which was released in 1965. The film's dystopian setting and themes of technology, control and humanity resonated with the band, who wanted to reflect similar ideas in their music. The band's choice of names speaks to their intellectual approach to music and their desire to create songs with deeper meanings. 3. Forever Young almost didn't happen. Forever Young is perhaps Alphaville's most iconic song, but it almost didn't make the album. The track was initially written as a demo, and the band wasn't sure if it would fit with the rest of the material. Fortunately, they decided to keep it, and it went on to become a worldwide anthem, capturing the longing for youth and immortality that resonates with listeners even today. 4. They were pioneers of synth-pop and new wave. While many associate the 80s with electronic and synth-based music, Alphaville was ahead of the curve in terms of blending those sounds with catchy pop hooks. Their innovative use of synthesizers, drum machines, and production techniques helped shape the sound of the era and influenced many future artists in the electronic, synth-pop, and new wave genres. 5. Alphaville had a unique sound that evolved over time. Though the band's sound was initially rooted in synth-pop, Alphaville evolved over the years. As the 80s turned into the 90s and beyond, they incorporated elements of rock, orchestral music, and more sophisticated production into their work. This evolution allowed them to remain relevant and adapt to changing music trends, while still retaining their distinct style. Which of these facts surprised you the most? From their breakthrough hit to their unique blend of electronic music and intellectual influences, Alphaville's story is full of surprises. Which of these facts caught you off guard? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more awesome music content.
Was Brian Jones murdered, or was it an accident? 5 questions that sparked doubt. Brian Jones, the brilliant guitarist and founding member of the Rolling Stones, died in July 1969 at the age of 27. Although his death was officially classified as an accidental drowning in his pool, the circumstances surrounding his death have been shrouded in mystery since the very beginning. Many theories and speculations have emerged over the years, suggesting that Jones may have been murdered, or that his death was the result of a life full of excesses. In this text, we explore 5 key questions that continue to generate doubt about what really happened that night. 1. Why are there doubts about Brian Jones's death? The official story says that Brian Jones died from an accidental drowning in his pool on July 3, 1969. However, several reasons have led people to question this explanation. First of all, the police who investigated his death did not perform a full autopsy, something that would have been expected in the case of such a sudden death at a young age, especially when there were no known heart problems. Additionally, several details in the testimonies of witnesses do not seem to match up, such as the fact that Jones was said to have been at his house with friends and acquaintances the night of his death, but some claim they didn't see him come out of the water after entering his pool. The lack of a proper investigation, along with contradictory testimonies, has left many questions unanswered. It's also important to consider that Brian Jones had been dealing with numerous personal issues in the months leading up to his death, including increasing drug and alcohol abuse, as well as conflicts within the band. Some even say that the pressure he felt from fame and internal tensions with the Rolling Stones may have affected his mental and emotional health, leaving him vulnerable. However, the lack of concrete evidence has allowed darker theories about what happened that night to persist. 2. What do witnesses say about what happened on the night of his death? Witness testimonies about the night Brian Jones died are puzzling and contradictory. According to some reports, the last person to see Jones alive was his girlfriend, who allegedly left him alone just before he was found in the pool. Other witnesses, such as the gardener and some close friends, stated that Jones was alone in the garden before his death, but they were unclear about how the incident occurred. Although some friends claimed he was fine that night, others insisted he was in a highly altered state due to substance abuse. One of the most notable inconsistencies involves the details of how his body was discovered. It's said that Brian was found at the bottom of the pool, but there were no obvious signs of struggle or clear indications that he had tried to call for help. This raises questions about whether it was truly an accident, or if someone may have pushed him in or even killed him before placing his body in the pool. Some believe the drowning may have been staged to make it look like an accident. With so many contradictory testimonies, it's difficult to find a truth that can clarify the events of that night. 3. Was Brian Jones murdered? There are many theories suggesting that Brian Jones's death wasn't an accident, but rather a murder, possibly orchestrated by someone within his close circle. In the months leading up to his death, Jones had been increasingly distanced from the Rolling Stones, which created tensions within the band. Some believe that his bandmates, Mick Jagger and Keith Richards, may have had reasons to want him out due to his erratic behavior and growing lack of discipline. It was said that his excessive drug use and social isolation were interfering with the band's work, and some speculate that his bandmates saw his death as a way to move forward without him. One of the most popular theories suggests that Jones may have been murdered by people outside of the band, such as drug dealers and traffickers he had associated with in his final days. Some claim that there was a cover-up organized to make his death appear as an accidental drowning. While no conclusive evidence has ever been found to support this idea, suspicions remain, especially due to the nature of his death and the circumstances surrounding it. 4. What impact did Brian Jones's death have on the Rolling Stones? Brian Jones's death had a significant impact on the Rolling Stones, both musically and personally. Jones had been a key figure in shaping the band's sound, especially in the early years. His ability to play multiple instruments and his influence in creating their psychedelic style were essential to the Rolling Stones' early success. However, his increasing drug use and unpredictable behavior had been driving a wedge between him and the band in recent months. After his death, Mick Jagger and Keith Richards took full control of the band and began focusing on a new sound, which would culminate in landmark albums like Let It Bleed and Sticky Fingers. The arrival of guitarist Mick Taylor also marked a new era for the band. While the band continued to achieve success, many fans and band members mourned the loss of Jones, who had been a key creative figure. Moreover, Jones's death marked the end of an era for the Rolling Stones, leaving a sense of emptiness for those who remembered the band's magic with their original member. 5. Was Brian Jones's death just an accident, or was there something darker behind it? Brian Jones's death remains one of the most fascinating and tragic mysteries in rock history. While some believe it was simply a tragic accident due to his drug and alcohol abuse, others think there was something darker behind his death. The lack of a deeper investigation, the swift certification of his death, and the absence of a complete autopsy have left many questions unanswered. Some believe that the police didn't want to look deeper into the case due to the influence of the music industry and the potential legal complications that could have arisen. Ultimately, Brian Jones' death remains one of the most controversial and debated events in rock history. While theories about his murder continue to circulate, the lack of concrete evidence has kept the mystery intact. Was it truly an accident, or was someone involved in his tragic disappearance? The answer remains uncertain, and Brian Jones's legacy lives on in the Rolling Stones' music and the questions that persist about his death. The mystery surrounding Brian Jones's death remains one of the most intriguing cases in rock history. Although no definitive conclusion has been reached, theories about his possible murder continue to fuel the curiosity of fans and experts. What do you think? Was it really an accident, or is there something darker behind his tragic death? Leave us your comments, share your theories, and don't forget to subscribe for more content about the mysteries of music and rock history. Your opinion is very important to us.